Hey guys, it's me and the King Dragon Puppies here, and I'm here today doing Freaky Friday. Boo! Today we are talking about the Dover Demon. So let's get started. We are using the Cryptid Wiki fandom on Google, so let's get into it. The Dover Demon is a small humanoid reported from Dover, Massachusetts. It was the subject of an intensive scare during the 1970s when multiple witnesses came forward with their sightings. The Dover Demon is described as looking sort of like the gray variety of alien, except that it has a rosy tan colored skin instead. The Dover Demon has a large head on a small stick-like body. It can be bipedal, but it often travels on all fours or switches back and forth between the two modes of locomotion. It has eyes that glow, usually orange or sometimes green. It does not seem to wear any clothing, and unlike the Greys, the Dover Demon does not seem to be associated with any UFOs. It just wanders around on its own. Cryptozoologists seldom show interest in the Dover Demon. Mainstream cryptozoologists are rarely willing to seriously investigate humanoids other than hairy humanoids. It seems that sightings only happen during a short period, with most claiming that sightings have now ceased, so the Dover Demon does not seem to be a pressing matter. Now that I find interesting, because why are they not interested in the Dover Demon? Now, I could understand why they are more interested in Bigfoot-like creatures, but aliens are a very important part of pop culture and are very famous. I'd say even more famous than Bigfoot, because there's so many different kinds of aliens there could be that it's just interesting. And the only reason why I could think of why they wouldn't want to see it is they think it might be a prank, because it was usually kids who saw the alien, and or the sightings only lasted for a few months or years. So that may be a reason. But also I find it interesting that it's called Dover Demon when it's an alien-like creature. Like, maybe it has some kind of ghost-like abilities, who knows. But anyways, sightings. The bizarre tale begins at 10:32 p.m. on April 21st as three 17-year-olds, Bill Bartlett, Mike Mazzaka, and Andy Brody, are driving north on Farm Street. Bartlett, who's behind the wheel of the Volkswagen, spots something creeping along a low wall of loose stones on the left side of the road. At first, he thinks the image is a dog or a cat until his headlights shine on it and he realizes it's nothing he's ever seen before. The figure slowly turns its head and stares into the light, its two large, round, glassy, lidless eyes shining brightly like two orange marbles. Its watermelon-shaped head, resting at the top of a thin neck, is the size of the rest of its body. Except for its oversized head, the creature is thin with long, spindly arms and legs, and large hands and feet. The skin is hairless and peach-colored, and appears to have a rough texture, like wet sandpaper. Bartlett subsequently tells cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman. Standing no more than 3.5 to 4 feet tall, the figure is shaped like a baby's body with long arms and legs. It has been making its way along the wall, its long fingers curling around the rocks, when the car light surprised it. Unfortunately, neither of Bartlett's companions see the creature. The sighting lasts only a few seconds, and before Bartlett can speak, the car leaves the scene and the creature is gone. Bartlett drops his friends off and goes to the Walpole Street home. Visibly upset, he walks through the door, and his father asks him what's wrong. Bartlett relates the story and later sketches what he's seen. Now, the fact that only he saw it and none of his friends saw it, I find a little sketchy, a little weird, but the fact, especially since I would assume, since there's three friends and he's driving in a car, one of them would have to be in the front seat. And for him not to see it, that's kind of strange. But the second sighting we have here is around midnight. 15-year-old John Baxter leaves his girlfriend Kathy Coronan's house at the south end of Miller High Road. Then Baxter starts walking up the street on his way home. Half an hour later, after he has walked about a mile, he observes someone approaching him. Because the figure is short, Baxter assumes it's an it's an acquaintance of him. M.G. Burchard, who lives on the street. John calls out and no one responds. Baxter and the figure continue to approach each other until finally the latter stops. Baxter then halts, as well as asks Who is that? The sky is dark and overcast, and he can only see his shadowy form. Trying to get a better look, Baxter takes one step forward, and the figure scurries off to the left, running down a shallow wooded gully and up the opposite bank. As the figure runs, Baxter hears its footsteps on the dry leaves. He follows the figure down the slope, then stops, and looks across the gully. There, he sees the creature standing in the silhouette, about 30 feet away, its feet molded around the top of the rock several feet from a tree. The creature's body reminds Baxter of a monkey's, except for its dark figure-8-shaped head. Its eyes, two lighter spots in the middle of its head, are looking straight at Baxter, who after a few minutes begins to feel uneasy, realizing he has never seen such a creature before and fearing what it might do next. He backs carefully up the slope. His heart was pounding. He then walks very fast down the road to the intersection at the farm street. There, a couple passing in a car picked him up and drove him home. So, that is also very interesting. So, it never really came at him, but I don't know, like, I find it strange how similar he said it was to a monkey. Maybe it was a monkey, like, who knows, but that encounter was really weird, in my opinion. I'm kind of speechless, honestly. But anyway, there's an explanation here. It says, skeptics usually claim that the Dover Demon was simply a lost baby moose glimpsed under unusual conditions that made it seem like a bizarre humanoid that sometimes went on 4 legs. Okay. What? So, how could a baby moose stand on 2 legs? That seems strange to me. I think that is a hoax, and I don't think it was a moose, because when did you see the antlers? At least ears? Because how it's described, it has no ears. So, I know baby moose usually don't have horns. I don't know a lot about moose, but I assume baby moose don't have horns, but they have visible ears. And the Dover Demon looking like a moose doesn't seem likely to me. But people who don't believe that explanation point out that all the sightings happened during the wrong time of year for a moose that small to exist. So even a baby moose to exist during that time, would it be possible because it wasn't mating season? And they also point out that the Massachusetts is far from normal moose habitat. Even if such an orphan moose had been wandering around so close to populated areas, it seems as if it would have been easily captured if the explanatory power of the baby moose explanation appeals to you. Then you could get around the worst objection by substituting a creature that does actually exist the area and can be born any time of year. A baby calf. That sentence was really weird to me. I don't know. It didn't make much sense. An orange-furred orphan calf would be a more likely candidate for such a proposal than a baby moose. Other suggested explanations include a monkey, a dog, an alien, a mutation, or simply a hoax. Another explanation could be that it is an escaped and illegal-to-own pet gibbon. Some species of gibbon have orange babies. White-cheeked gibbons have an orange color in females. I don't actually know what a gibbon is, but some of the other suggestions are a dog, which they never say there was a visible snout and ears again, no tail, and a dog could stand on 2 legs, but it also says monkey, but again, no tail, no ears, that sort of thing. So that I find kind of suspicious. So in my opinion, I think it's just a hoax. But let's look at the Cryptid Creatures Field Guide. Normally we would go to the Cryptozoology A to Z, but the Dover Demon is not actually in this story, in this book, because this book was made around the 1980s, 1990s. I do not see where it says it, but this book is really old. Like, it doesn't even have some very popular monsters in it, so we'll keep that in mind. But the Dover Demon in the field guide was first reported in 1972, location Massachusetts, cryptid type terrestrial humanoid-like, and its reality rating is 4 stars, which in the article on Cryptid Wiki Phantoms, it really talks about it like it was most likely a hoax, but in here it has a 4 out of 6 star rating. So factoid, when the Dover Demon was sighted in 1977, all 3 witnesses spotted it near water, and all 3 locations, when plotted on a map, were in a straight line. Huh. According to the Boston Globe, Mark Sennett and his friends were students at Dover Sherburne High School when they first spotted what may have been the Dover Demon in Massachusetts in 1972. We saw a small figure deep in the woods moving at the edge of the pond, he said. We didn't know it could have been an animal. 5 years later, William Bartlett and 2 other teens really put the Dover Demon on the map. Around 10 o'clock p.m. on April 21st, 1977, 17-year-old Bartlett was driving when he saw a bizarre creature perched on a stone wall at midnight. John Baxter, 15, got within 15 feet of what experts believe was the same creature. 15-year-old Abby Braham spotted them the next night, driving home with her boyfriend. All 3 described the same key features to police. It was about 4 feet tall, had an egg-shaped head, glowing red or orange eyes, and no mouth or nose. It wasn't an ordinary animal, they said, not a moose or a fox. They'd grown up around the region's animal life. This was no animal. It looked more like a kid with a distended belly, Bartlett said, a kid with terrifying eyes. While filing his police report, he drew a sketch of what he'd seen and wrote a cryptic declaration on the page. I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature. Few sightings have been documented since. As a middle-aged adult and a fine artist who exhibits his paintings regularly, being eyewitness to a monster hasn't been easy for Bartlett. People who have known him all his life think he saw something like the Easter Bunny, something unreal, but he stands by his story. In a lot of ways, it's kind of embarrassing to me, he said in the Boston Globe. It was definitely weird. I didn't make it up. Sometimes I wish I had. So that makes me feel bad for Bartlett. But the story was a little different, I think. It said that he said he swore on a stack of Bibles. So, I mean, who knows if he was lying. But people made fun of him saying he saw the Easter Bunny. Now, I wouldn't want to go through all that just to make a joke, so I think that story could have been credible, but it's really hard to say. The Dover Demon is very strange cryptid, but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you never miss another video, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Roar.